day as we start this online certificate course on social security legislations. And on behalf of the no, course coordinator, I really welcome our college principal, Dr. S. Raja Samuel, who's been here with us. And he has been a pillar of support for all of us. Whatever initiative that you have taken, he's been very much appreciated and supported by our principal. So I really welcome our principal, Dr. S. Raja Samuel, for this session. And I also welcome one of our mentor, Professor Anthony Stephen. I think he is there, and he's been again a kind of mentor and guide in whatever way that we do. He's always there to guide us. So I really welcome Professor Anthony Stephen, and I also welcome the resource person of the day, Ms. Rani, and she has been a very good initiator, and then no, she was well connected from the beginning when we started to plan for the social security legislations, and she's been no, very kind enough to join with the college, with our people, to impart the knowledge on ESI Act. And I really welcome ma'am for the session. I also welcome all the participants who have been joining in our session across the country. Okay, just to give you a profile of our participants, there are about 49 female participants and there are about 51 male participants. So we have gender equality here in our course, almost no, equal. And we have also have participants from Gandhinagar, Gujarat, Mangalore, Udaipur, and Madhya Pradesh, uh, Madras, no, IIT Madras, and from Bombay is from TIS. And we have also people from organizations like Siemens, the Nortel Nizan, no, then Export Inspection Agency, and so on. So there are a lot of people who have been have joined our course, and there are about 51 students, and there are about 15% of academicians and 22% of HRs, and there are also people who are from civil service examination aspirants. So some participants are the civil service examination aspirants, and there are also some participants from government sector. Okay, so we have a variety of participants for this course, and I really thank each and every one of you for taking interest in attending this particular program. And I also welcome all of you who have been joining and who have been in the going to join soon. So I really welcome you all for this session. Over to Indian sir. Indian sir.
Thank you, Professor Dunstan. Now I request our principal, Dr. Raja Samuel, to facilitate this gathering.
Yeah, thank you. I'm delighted that we are able to offer this very important course. And on this occasion, I'm glad to welcome all the participants and the resource persons on behalf of Madras School of Social Work. I think the need for social security legislation has never been felt more than now. I think now is a context in which there's a lot of turmoil in the industrial workforce in particular, and we saw the plight of the migrant workers, and we saw that a lot of industries had to close down temporarily, and the workers had to go without wages and things like that. So it is the context, I think, is really setting the tone for this series of webinars in which we need to understand how these social security legislations protect the workers, and also how these legislations, are they standing the test of these crucial times? I think it's very important to debate on how much of these legislations are standing up to the test of these kind of crisis that comes and and when workforce is involved in this crisis. And we even heard of states that want some relaxations, industries that want some relaxations in the social security legislations, probably some provisions to be suspended because they want to recover the loss that they've incurred. Now, all this raises a lot of questions on how we need to negotiate these legislations, how we need to look at them, and what kind of lens we apply, and how we can strengthen it in a way that they are robust enough to cater to all kind of situations so that the workforce is protected and the social justice also ensured for the workers. I think it's important in this context, and I'm glad that the set of faculty members, Professor Inian, Professor Dunstan, Professor Hemakumar, and the others have come together to put together this course. And I'm really delighted that there are fantastic resource persons who have agreed to be part of this course and who are going to speak to you in all these sessions. So I welcome all the participants and appreciate this team for putting it together. A big welcome to all of you and enjoy the learning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll give you the overview of this course. This program is a 5-day virtual program which is designed by the Center for Labor Studies, which works under Madras School of Social Work. In this course, we will be addressing 5 major social security legislations vis-a-vis ESI Act, the PF Act, Workmen Employee Compensation Act, Maternity Benefit Act, and Payment of Gratuity Act. So it is very important to understand the social security legislations in today's context. To give you a statistics, last year there is a case filed in High Court of Bombay. It's a public interest litigation. It talked about number of amount, the amount which is being deposited in the PF account, which is deposited in the PF office, which is not being dispersed to the beneficiaries. The total amount is coming around to 40,000 crore. 40,000 crore amount is being deposited in the PF office, which has to be given to the beneficiaries, but it has not been given. So such is the lack of awareness among social security legislation among the employees. So it is in this context we felt that for better implementation of the act, the employees must be aware of different social security legislations. When we talk about the social security legislations to our colleagues and other friends, many know the act only in the surface level, but many are not aware about the applicability of the act, how this act can function. Only when people know about this act, when a lot of awareness comes, a lot of action can happen. So the better implementation, I would say, will be on the part of the beneficiaries. So it is in this context only we thought we will organize this social security legislations to give or to empower the participants and also to help the labor community as a whole to bring them a lot of insights about the act. So we have designed in such a way that there are resource persons who have expertise in the particular act. You would have received the pre-test registration. So the session will go like that. Before the starting of the session, we will give you the pre-test of the particular act. It will contain some of the questions. The participants are expected to answer those questions, and then you participate in the session. After the session is over, we will give you the post test registration link with the feedback about the particular session, and we will also give you space for asking more questions. So the presenter will present the slides for 1 hour or 40 minutes, 15 minutes. And after that, the floor will be open for question. You can post the questions in the chat box. We will try to answer with the limited time. If not, we will take the questions and we will give you in written reply for all the questions which has been asked. So this is the overview about the course. And now I request Professor Hemakumar to introduce the resource person of the day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Inian. I'm very delighted to introduce today's chief guest, Ms. Rani Sakti Sri. Madam has graduated PLM from Tamil Nadu Labour Institute of Labour Studies and acquired PGD PMA in Madurai Kamaraj University, and also has an additional qualification of LLB from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia College of Law, and also got an additional certification of PGXPM from Great Lakes Institute of Management. Madam has got 20 years of HR experience experience and also served in a different organization under various capacity, notably Deputy Manager HR, Raj Syria Group, and currently she is holding a position as Senior Manager Group HR, Wipro Infrastructure Engineering. Interestingly, Madam's LinkedIn top skills featured in her LinkedIn page. Madam is well versed in recruiting, performance management, compound benefit and benefit administration, and of course the list goes many, but owing to the positive time I have just restricted the list. And yes, thank you so much, madam, for accepting our invitation to be a part of this course, and also be a resource person for this course. Now over to you, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, the screen was not allowing me to unmute myself. I'm so sorry for the delay. Uh, Thank you so much, sir. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the principal and the faculty members of MSSW. It is a honor, it's a privilege to be part of this session. And right from my college days, like any other HR professional, MSSW is definitely a dream place for any HR professional. So I have also crossed that phase of my student life, and it is definitely a honor to be a part of this session. And I'm so happy to see such wonderful participants who have joined from all across India, not just the student community. I'm so happy to be part of this session. And even after the session, I would be very happy to get connected with the LinkedIn. And in case if you need any help, in case of any projects or anything, feel free to reach out to me through your professors. I will be very happy to help you all. So with that introduction, I would like to get into the session. If you would like to give any specific I mean, expectations from you, I would be very happy to have it. You can put it in the chat box, and I will take those inputs from your professors, and I will moderate my session accordingly. Otherwise, I have a standard a presentation which I will be sharing it to you and take you through the session. So that this is the plan for the day. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. You can share the screen, ma'am.
Principal sir gave us a very wonderful introduction on how important is the enactments and the legislations what we have, and whether they, I mean, they are serving the purpose. Almost all these legislations, we should thank the team which was involved in helping us to get all these legislations. A wonderful thought process that has gone through. We couldn't even imagine how what inputs have gone through, what are the processes they have gone through, and it is still standing the test of the time. Irrespective of so many changes, in respective of so many changes, and then whatever have we have gone through, or the basis of the act has never changed. There could be many additions, deletions, and then changes in those legislation, but the baseline has never changed. Social Security Acts, in fact, had done a wonderful change or an impact on the life of the employees. And one such wonderful act, one wonderful Social Security Act is this State Employee State Insurance Act, and I'm very happy to share about this act to all the participants. So, as we discussed, ESI Act is called as a Social Security Act. What do we mean by a Social Security Act? If if we have to simply refer in a layman's view, it is something which will not benefit the employee immediately. Social Security Acts are basically designed to guarantee long term sustenance or long term benefits to the employees, not just the employees, but also to the family members of these employees. When the earning member ceases or he reduces to earn, this could be because of the inability, or it could be because of retirement, or it could be because of death. In either of these cases, when an employee, a earning member of a family, uh, is unable to earn any further, there is a long term sustenance which is assured to the subscribers, and such acts are called as Social Security Acts. To give you an example, today if someone is exercising, immediately he may not have any benefit of that exercise. Of course it will keep him fit, but over a period of time, over when that particular person is crossing some 40 years or 50 years, the chances of he being or he continue to be hale and healthy is much more than a person who has not made exercise a habit or part of his life. So I would tell Social Security Acts or something similar to that. While there are immediate benefits which are available from the contributions what an employee is making, these acts are basically designed to guarantee them a long term sustenance. So that is the basis of these acts. So ESI Act is one such pioneer act which was introduced. In fact, it goes back to the Workmen's State Insurance Bill, which was passed in the year 1946, and the ESI Act came into force in 1948. I'm not going to repeat the objective of the act. I'm sure all of you are able to see the screen and you can go through the objective of the act. In fact, that should be available in the textbooks also. So in this entire session, I would like to adopt this way of communicating to you or sharing my knowledge with you, instead of just repeating the bare act definitions or the benefits that is available in the act, or what I have put for the purpose of presentation. I will touch upon it, but I would like to share certain practical uh, experiences and then related to the objective and the the definitions of the act, so that you will be able to relate it with the real time experiences. So before I start into the program, before we get into the program, I would like to mention, like, as a HR professional, the knowledge what we gain, the percentage of marks what we score, the flying colors with which we come out, nothing would actually project us as the best HR manager to any of our employees. I'm sure most of you are already working, and few of you are in your college, like doing your first year or second year. To all of them, one thing which will actually make us successful, or end of the day what would make us feel happy for being a HR professional, is when an employee, when he is in need or when he is looking for someone's help, it should be the face of a HR spock that should come to him. He should feel, oh, let me call my HR manager, let me call my HR spock, he or she will help me out. If we are able to build that image, I would call that is the success of a HR manager. So how do we do it? How can we do it? As the professor was telling, it is only when we have an overall view, only when we are familiar with all the acts which are available, the minute things. Take the case of an ESI. Only when I know what are the benefits that are available, what are the benefits that are not available, what is covered, what is not covered, in case an employee reaches out to me, I would be able to help him. Let it be any act, let it be any Social Security Act, or let it be the anything that is related to wages, Only when a HR person knows it completely, he would be actually able to help the employees. And I have always enjoyed the privilege of being a HR person. When there is a need, when you have to meet the families of these employees, it could be a housewarming or it could be a wedding or whatever it is. I have practically seen the respect what a HR person deserves, or the treatment what you actually get when you meet all these family members would definitely be different from any of the other functions. And that is because we are connected to these employees in all the requirements they look forward, all the help they look forward. And it is only when we are familiar with these acts, and then if we could extend those helps to those employees, it will be of great help. It is not just the acts, it could be your company policies, it could be even the medical insurance policy or a medical insurance scheme which the company is having. Only when we are familiar and we are able to exactly give the employee the need of the hour or the point that would help him at that moment over a call would actually differentiate you from others, and that is what would take you to the heart of the employee. And nothing else can make a HR person so successful. So before I get into the session, my humble request to you all, the budding HR professionals and the student community, is to take it very seriously, relate it to the real world environment and understand the act. And don't just go through the acts only for the purpose of securing good marks, because finally end of the day in your career the marks what we secure is not going to be of great help. That could be a visa to get us a better placement, but that will not take us to the heart of the employee. So, getting back to the definition of the act, if you go through ESI Act, it is basically designed to provide certain benefits to the employees. Those benefits are sickness, maternity, employment injury, and disablement. And finally, death due to employment injury. So this is what is more important. If you look at the first part of the definition, it covers almost all the ailments, or it will cover all the personal losses which an employee would go through. It could either be a sickness, it could either be an employment injury. That employment injury can be temporary or permanent, or that employment injury can result in a death, or it is just an injury uh, which will end up in a disablement. Whatever is the form of the loss, the ESI Act provides certain benefits to all these losses. This loss could either be in the form of the total loss of wages, or it could be in the form of a loss in the earning capacity. To give you an example, if it is an employee has injured a fracture, so it is a loss during the time when the employee has to get hospitalized. There is a possibility that the employee will not earn his salary. One, for the injury what he has suffered, he will need a medical benefit which is offered by the ESI Act. And in case apart from the medical injury, if the employee is going through a personal loss because of the loss of pay, this ESI Act is again supporting him by the way of sickness benefit. And in case if the employee is suffering a permanent disablement, if it is not a fracture, or if it is a loss of a hand or an injury, and even in that case he may not come back to the work and start doing the work which he was doing. So in case of a permanent disablement which will actually throw the employee, or which will actually reduce the earning capacity of the employee, the act provides a disablement benefit to the extent of the loss of wages. So if you take a real time example and then relate it to the definition, you will see these four lines has covered almost everything that could happen to an employee. This is what I actually enjoy in reading the objective of the act. I'm sure all of you know Tamil. Tirukural, if you have to literally tell what Avayar has told, uh, கடலை புகுத்தி குறுக தரித்தது ஒரு குரல் அப்படின்னு என்னன்னா ஒரு கடுகுக்குள்ள வந்து இது கடலையே புகுத்த முடியும் அந்த அளவுக்கு it has to be short but at the same time it has to convey the message. Any objective, I love reading the objective of the act and I enjoy how the forefathers have their thought process, how they have covered almost everything that could happen to an employee. They have put it together in 4 lines. That is a wonderful definition of this objective of the ESI Act. All parts of the laws and the benefit is covered in these 4 lines. And with this objective, if we have to see to whom does this ESI Act apply, it covers the whole of India, and it covers all the factories which is working with the aid of a power where 10 and more employees are work, and all factories without power 20 and more employees are working. And the act is not applicable to seasonal factories. By seasonal factories, like those factories which will not work throughout the year. Example is a sugarcane factory. Sugarcane factory will work only for a period of less than 6 months. So such industries are called as seasonal factories. And the factories which are under the control of the government or where the employees are already getting better benefits under the acts which are applicable to them, and in case of an Indian Army or a Navy or a Air Force, and mines where they already have benefits which are better than the ESI Act, in those places the ESI Act is not applicable. And this act also does not apply to the employee who is drawing more than 21,000 salary, which is a gross salary. And in case of an employee who is a person with disability, the maximum limit is 25,000 instead of 20,000, and the employer's contribution is paid by the central government for a period of 3 years from the date of joining of the employee. So this is the applicability of the act. And just to understand how the ESI Act is being administered, it basically has a corporate body which is actually administering the ESI scheme, which has representatives from employers, employees, central government, and also from state government. There are also medical professionals who are part of the standing committee, and then we have members from the parliament who would actually be part of the committee. And it has a standing committee, and the standing committee would take care of the administration of the act. Administration in the sense, what are the schemes to be introduced, what are the new schemes to be introduced. Even recently in the COVID situation, ESI has announced certain special features, which I will, special benefits that are available to the employees. To give you one example, when there is a need for these employees to buy medicines, the beneficiaries will have to go to the dispensaries which are available across all the locations. They will get their medicines from those dispensaries. Now ESI announced you can buy your medicines from your nearby shops, medicine shops, and you can just get the reimbursement from the ESI corporation. So who would decide such administrative benefits to the employee? So that is basically decided by the standing committee of the corporation. And similarly, there is a medical benefit council to advise the corporation. Medical benefit council would have more of a medical professionals to give one best example of a feature which is appreciated by all the employees. Initially, we used to have ESI hospitals and dispensaries which will not be open all throughout the day. These ESI dispensaries will be open only from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning. And in Chennai, if you take Chennai, there are only 2 ESI hospitals. One is in Ainavaram, another one is KK Nagar. You can imagine how big is Chennai. If somebody has to travel from Tambaram, or if somebody has to travel from Sriperumbudur or so, they don't have a choice. All the way they have to either come to KK Nagar or to Ainavaram. Obviously, employees will face difficulties, and that is the reason earlier we used to face, even now we face, When you recruit a guy, maybe a fresher who is drawing a salary less than 21,000 rupees, and you have a deduction of ESI in his payslip, the first thing the employer will come and tell is, Madam, is there a way you can stop this ESI deduction? I don't want to get under ESI deduction, because the employer, a new joinee, is not able to appreciate the benefit that was available in the ESI hospital, because it is not available for his immediate requirement. One beautiful thing which ESI introduced was they tied up with all private hospitals. In case of an emergency, employee can very well get admitted in these private hospitals, and ESI will extend the same benefit what is extended to him in the ESI hospital. In case if there is a surgery, ESI will reimburse the cost of the surgery. So this is one of the wonderful initiative which ESI has launched, and such initiatives will be advised or suggested to the corporation by this medical benefit team. And of course, all these pillars are headed by a director general, who is the chief executive of the corporation. So this is how ESI scheme and the act is being practically administered. So we will go back to a few interesting facts about ESI. So the scheme was first introduced in Kanpur and Delhi. The head office of ESI is in New Delhi, and there are 23 regional offices, 12 sub-regional offices, and there are local offices, 8 local offices and cash offices. Uh, to give you a understanding of what local officers and cash officers are, there are many schemes which are being administered by ESI. One example is sickness benefit. If an employee is absent or if he is not able to attend duty for 5 days, and it is a loss of pay for him, there is a benefit which is available for the employee to go and get that reimbursement for those 5 days salary from ESI corporation. Such benefits are distributed to the employees through the local offices. So these are local offices, and regional offices and sub-regional offices are administrative offices, which will actually decide the pension, which will actually take care of inspection of the industries which are covered under ESI. And these are the major roles of the regional offices and sub-regional offices. And ESIC has 9 medical colleges and 2 dental colleges in India. And of course, the admission criteria is neat, but of course, it is exclusively run by ESI Corporation. And as I was telling you, there are outpatient services, which is basically a dispensaries like any other OHC or a clinic which we visit. There are around 1,418 dispensaries, and there are 145 ESI hospitals and 42 hospital annexures which are available. Even there are state government hospitals which have reserved exclusive beds for the ESI beneficiaries. So if you broadly look at the numbers and you just compare the number of beneficiaries, you take maybe Sri Perumudur Sipcot area, we have at least 1,500 industries. I'm not talking about the employees. There are at least 1,500 industries. It ranges from Hyundai, which has got around 20,000 employees, to the 3-tier or 4-tier subcontractor of Hyundai, which is running with almost 20 people or 30 people. It is wide range of employees. And if you can imagine the Sri Perumudur Sipcot with so many lakhs of employees, just imagine how many employees would be there around India. And comparing that, if you just see the number of hospitals and the dispensaries, you will see that overall there was a big gap. And that was a real time situation also a few years ago, when there was no tie up with the private hospitals, and employees were actually not enjoying the benefits that were given, the medical benefits that were given by ESI Corporation. That was, there were some wonderful efforts which were actually made by the corporation, which took all these benefits to the hearts of the employees, and that would definitely be a big landmark when they tied up with the private hospitals and let that benefit passed to the employee and enabled them to visit all private hospitals, and ESI declared we will reimburse if there is a need. That was a big breakthrough, I would call, in the ESI Act. And one more important clause or the aspect of ESIC is that there is no cap or there is no differentiation in the medical benefit. Practically, we would have a lot of medical insurances. You would have also come across a lot of medical insurances. If it is a 2 lakh insurance, maybe I'm not quoting the name of an insurer, there is a service provider who will give you 2 lakh medical insurance and the premium will be 4,000 rupees. We would have thought, okay, 4,000 rupees I have paid and I have a 2 lakh insurance premium. Until you actually utilize it for any of your family members, you will not know what are the locks that are available in the policy document you are having. They will tell, no, the room rent is capped at 2,000 rupees, and you will understand in any hospital the room rent, decent room is not available for less than 4,000 rupees. And you will find out that the clause or the nursing charges is limited to the 30% of room rent. And you will realize all the locks in the insurance only when there is a need. And in case if you have paid a 16,000 rupees policy, you will know that the room rent is up to 7,000 rupees and there is no cap on the nursing charges and so many things. Basically, what I'm trying to tell is anything that is available, the premium what we pay or the cost what we pay decides the benefit what we would get. That is practical in any retail market. But what is very interesting about ESI is there is no cap. Irrespective of an employee who is just drawing his minimum wages or who is drawing the maximum cap of 21,000 rupees, there is no differentiation. The place where he lives decides the hospital which he will have to get into, and the room or the critical illness, the illness or the ailment what he is going through will decide the type of treatment which he has to go through. It is not the salary or the contribution what this employee is contributing will decide the benefit what an employee will get. This is something very interesting about ESI benefit. So, Professor, is it okay? Am I rushing up? Is it all fine?
Fine, madam. Fine, madam.
Okay.
No, yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
And one more important definition, I'm touching upon very important definitions because it is a very big act, and at this time, I think basic definitions would help you understand and relate it to the real-time world than briefing all the definitions. So I'm restricting myself with very practical and critical definitions which would really help in your real-time life. So who is an employee? Anyone who is employed for wages. And if you could see, I have underlined the word in or in connection with the work. Again, I'm not going to brief the complete act, but I am going to speak about the importance of these 4 lines. As I told you, how the drafting committee has thought through in covering the entire aspect or the entire requirement of an employee in just 4 lines. That is what I want to insist upon by explaining the definition of an employee. You could see that the employee has been defined in this act as somebody who works not inside the factory or not who is directly engaged by the employer, in or in connection with the work. What a wonderful definition it is. I'll just give you an example. If I'm a tier 1 company, maybe I'm manufacturing a pen and I have subcontracted manufacturing the cap of my pen to a friend who lives some 3 kilometers away from me, and that person is doing a cap. I'm getting that cap, and I have delegated doing a refill for me to another person, and I have delegated doing the body of that pen to some other person. All that I am doing here is sitting and collecting all my material, assemble it as a pen, and I am selling it as a pen. So a person who is manufacturing a pen, all that I am doing is I am only sitting and assembling all my products and my selling it. And to assemble this, I hardly have only 5 employees, and I have covered all my 5 employees with ESI. Tomorrow, in the manufacturing unit, which is manufacturing cap for me, a person gets injured. Can I tell, no, that person is only doing cap for me, and I am purchasing that cap, and then I am assembling it. My employees who are assembling it are covered under ESI, so I am responsible only when something happens to my five employees? No, this act will not spare that employer like that, and that is why this definition is very, very important. Anyone who is employed for wages in or in connection with your work. So the employee who got injured in a place where somebody is doing just a cap for me gets covered under this definition in connection with the work. So how can I avoid the liability of that person to me is only by insisting that person or the owner of that premises which makes the cap to tell them, boss, cover your employees under ESI, register yourself as ESI. Only when he has a separate registration code of ESI, I am safe or I don't have a liability. If I try to make use of the opportunity of lesser cost by not allowing him to comply statutory provisions, and I tell I am not responsible for it, I have covered my employees, the act will not spare you. This is what I want all of you to understand. Tomorrow, when you step into an organization and take care of HR, you will have multiple people like a contract employee, a contractor who may not have ESI registration. He would have had ESI registration, but he would not have enrolled his employee under ESI. There is a portal, there is an online portal where if an employee joins, the employer will have to give all the details of that employee and create a ID card, we have an admission number in our college. Similarly, there is a ESI number for any employee. So the employer has to do it. Unless the employee is not registered under ESI Act and a ESI number is generated, he will not be able to get the benefits of the Act. So it is very important as a HR professional, even if I am working in the organization, as a HR person, I have to make sure all my subcontractors are registered under ESI, all my contract employees are registered under ESI, all of them are insured person. All that I have to ensure. That is very, very important as a HR professional. And here I would like to again quote one example. When I started my career long back, that was my first injury which I faced. That was a contract employee who used to, I'm not sure how many of you can understand the type of machine what I'm going to tell. It is called a bar press machine. You can imagine uh, we are 6 feet, maybe that machine is more than some 10-15 feet, and it would definitely be like a pillar which is maybe at least 1 meter breadth. It is such a machine, and I can tell you, if you place a iron block which is some 20 centimeter height, by just pressing one button, it will just flatten. If you can imagine a roti maker where you are placing a roti ball and then pressing the lid, the roti ball gets flattened into a roti. Like that, it can press an iron ball into a flat surface. It is that weight. And this poor guy had to just remove the finished component and place it in the um, a bin which is next to him, or there will be a regular employee who will just press the button and the ram will come down, it will flatten. This contract employee has to take that flattened finished product and place it in the bin. That was the role of a poor contract employee. And there is a sensor which will not allow the person to keep the hand inside to remove the component. It will blow a signal. For some reason, these guys have switched off the sensor, and these guys have were operating the machines, and unfortunately his entire hand till the knee, the wrist, it got completely crashed. And that was the first incident of accident which I actually faced in my career. I can still forget the employee, but when I went there to meet the employee in the hospital, I saw the employee's father. And I heard from my friends this father did not eat for last 2 days. So we were compelling this father to take out, and then we got them a tea. I'm sure many of you are from Chennai. This was in Stanley Hospital, and I'm not sure how many of you are from North Madras. So I went there to the Stanley Hospital, and we compelled this father to take a tea because he didn't take anything for the last 2 days. We were very much worried. We took the father to the nearest tea shop and we offered him a tea. With very great difficulty, he got the tea, but he didn't drink. He placed the tea down and this father started crying. I'm sure many of you know Tamil. The father was telling, எனக்கு இதை சாப்பிட முடியலமா, ரெண்டு பொம்பளை பிள்ளைய வச்சிருக்கானே, என் பையன் இனிமேல் என்ன பண்ணுவான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he started crying. I could never forget the cry of that father in my life. So it is that important. As a HR professional, we cannot make any big difference. I cannot go back to my organization. Even today, I have grown up in my career to this place. I can't go back to my employer and tell, okay, this contract employee, let us hire him in our regular roles, let us give all the benefits. Even today, practically, it is possible. It is not possible. All that you can do is whatever is available to him legally. I should not be a reason why it is not given to him. I should have ensured that he is covered under ESI. All the insurance number is available to him even before he starts his work. This is bare minimum thing which I can do as a HR professional. So demand compliance, press your foot and demand compliance. And that is why it is very important to understand the importance of the act to become a good human being than a successful HR manager. And that is why understanding all these acts are very, very important. So with that, employee is somebody who is not directly engaged in, it is in and in connection with the work, which is what I wanted to insist in this definition. And making the next definition very short, anything that is paid to an employee in the form of cash is ESI. And we need not get into the details of the act because generally in our culture, no, we think we have different HR professionals are very, very innovative. We will find out terminologies, special allowance, newspaper allowance, reading allowance, whatever is can make that particular component to get exempted from paying a ESI or a PF. We are all intelligent to do all that, but again, as a responsible HR manager, it is our responsibility to ensure whatever is due for an employee, we should make sure that it goes to the employee, and we should not find reasons why a part of the wage can be termed as something else which will avoid a benefit. Never attempt doing it. Whatever is due to the employee, we should be the first person who can speak about it and get that benefit to the employee. So the next important definition which I want to touch upon is the insured person. As I told, the employee who is contributing to ESI, or if anyone who is drawing a salary of less than 21,000 rupees and who is contributing to ESI becomes the insured person. As I told you, on the first day, even before onboarding the employee, the first thing a HR manager should do is to enroll him in the ESI portal and get him the insurance number and give it to him and keep it in the records handy, so that in case of any requirement it can be immediately retrieved. And don't expect the employee to keep it. All of us have personal medical insurance policy, no, all of us have life insurance policy, no. Can you close your eyes and tell me where the policy is in your house right now? Where is your Aadhaar card? Where is your college ID card? Right now it's not there. Maybe soon when our colleges are open, it's applicable to me also. I have to search my ID card of my organization. So it is applicable to all of us. None of us keep important things handy, but as a HR person, it is our responsibility to keep all these insurance numbers, and all that is important for an employee in case of a emergency, in case of an industrial injury. All that should be available with us handy. So that is my next piece of important message to you. Get an employee registered under ESI immediately on the same day of his joining, and it is very important to have the insurance number generated. and those employees are called as insured person. That is what this definition speaks about. And the next important definition is employment injury. Okay, so what is employment injury? Is it just an injury which an employee incurs within the premises of the organization? Does it matter? No. So again, thanks to the drafting committee, a wonderful thought process which has actually defined the employment injury. Let us take an example of someone who starts from his home. Maybe he will have to start from his home at 5 o'clock in the morning to reach out his factory, which is some 5 kilometers away from the place. So to take that, he is traveling, taking a short route, and then he is traveling to this place to make the distance less. And in this attempt, he is meeting with an accident or something happens to him. Can an employer raise his hands and tell, no, no, this person has still not reached my work premises? He has taken a short route and then he has let himself into a problem and then he has got into this issue. So I will not be responsible for what has happened to him. Can an employer raise his hands? No. The act is very, very clear. It is wonderfully defining what is an employment injury. It says, if you could see the words which I have underlined in bold, it says out of and in the course of insurable employment. So these words are very, very important. It is not something which happens to me in the employment. It is out of and in the course of insurable employment. So that is one part of it. So just look at the next part of it. That is also wonderful. Is it just an accident? No, the act is very clearly telling it is also an occupational disease. To make you understand what is an occupational disease, tomorrow somebody is working for, today somebody is working for a chemical industry, or if he is working in a place where there is a lot of fumes, or where there is a lot of smoke. So an employee is exposed to the smoke for 5 years. And after 5 years, this employee shifted to another place where there is no smoke. It is an AC environment or whatever it is. In the 6th year, if the employee is developing some disorder in his lungs, and if that is because of the smoke what he is exposed to in the last 5 years, that is called as occupational disease. Irrespective of whether I continue to work in the same environment or whether I have moved to a different place, it doesn't matter. This occupational disease which has put me in trouble, for this also the employer is responsible. So that is how the employment injury is defined. It could be an accident, it could also be an occupational disease. It could happen within the premises of the organization, or it could happen anywhere outside the premises of the organization. But if it is related to the insurable employment, then the employee is eligible for benefit, and that injury is called as employment injury. That is something very, very wonderful about this act. And then getting back to the definition of a family, again, a wonderful thought process that has gone through. Generally, when a family is defined, we all think it is the husband, the wife, and the children. So that is the family. Okay, we are generous enough to accept our dependent parents as the family. Beyond that, we have never applied ourselves to understand what is a family, who all would get impacted. In few families, when the yearning member stops yearning, or if something happens to the family. I practically have seen a vegetable vendor, a very old woman who used to sell vegetables near our house. That old woman's son and her daughter-in-law, they passed away in an accident. And this old woman, this elderly woman, was bringing up her grandchildren of that deceased son, who are hardly some 8th standard year studying girl and a 5th standard boy. Whenever I see her, I always, consciously, like, I will pray, God, nothing should happen to this elderly woman till these children are grown up. because nobody is there to take care of these children other than these elderly women. So I am just relating that to this definition and then appreciating the kind of thought process that has gone through to the drafting committee which has defined the family. You can go through this PPT. I have shared this with your professors. It is not, a spouse, a minor child, or an adopted child, a child who is dependent on the earnings of that member. And then it could be a child who is infirm till that infirmity continues. All that is okay. Dependent parents, all that is definitely okay. But what is wonderful is if you go to the next definition, it is not just the family who are eligible to get any benefits. In case of a death of that employee, the act very clearly says anyone who is dependent on the earning of that particular employee can also claim benefit from the corporation. That is what makes this act very, very important. And if you relate it to the elderly mother, if that old granny who's just selling vegetables, and tomorrow if something happens to her, she being a doing an unorganized sector, being in an unorganized sector, the future of those children is not secured. But if that is the case of an employee in the ESI corporation, then the future of those grandchildren also is secured, because if you look at the definition, you can see, I can give you one example: a widowed daughter-in-law. So somebody has already lost the son, and the daughter-in-law is dependent on this person's earning. And if something happens to this person, what will happen to the widowed daughter-in-law? Here, the act very clearly says she is a dependent. And just look at the second definition: a minor child of a predeceased son, a minor child of a predeceased daughter if the no parent is alive. And even the act did not leave or forget a grandparent. If the grandparent is dependent on the earnings of that particular person, even that grandparent is eligible to get benefit. So that is something very, very wonderful about this act. It doesn't just cover the family members to be beneficiaries. It has extended the scope even till the dependents who are eligible to get benefits. So that is something very wonderful. And coming back to the practical aspects of the act, to administer all these benefits, there is definitely a fund required, which is contributed by both employer and employee. Employees contribute 0.575% of the wages, and employees contribute 3.25% of the wages. Put together, 4% of the wages gets into the ESI corporation as the contribution. And it is with these funds the entire ESI benefits and the hospitals and all the other benefits are being managed by the corporation. And there is a contribution period and a benefit period. I'm not sure how you would be able to relate it practically. It is something like this: I joined my organization on the 1st of April, and I start contributing right from day one. So if I have joined the organization on April 1st, I will continue to contribute for 6 months, which is from April to September. This is called as my contribution period. And in case if I fall sick, I have to take 5 days LOP. Can I get that 5 days LOP during April and September? No, it is not possible, because I have to complete my contribution period for 6 months, and my benefit period will start from the subsequent January to June. The next 6 months, after a gap of 3 months, it starts from the January to June. So only when there is a loss of pay during my benefit period, which is from January to June, I I will be eligible for benefit, and not that immediately when I start contributing, I will be eligible for the benefit. So is it applicable to all the benefits? No, it is applicable only to sickness benefit and maternity benefit, which we will see very elaborately in the upcoming slides. Otherwise, right from day one, if there is medical requirement, irrespective of I have spent only 1 day in the organization, or I have not even started working, an employee can get the medical benefit. Not only him, his entire family can get the medical benefit. All the other benefits which we are going to see are available apart from the sickness benefit and the maternity benefit, which I will brief you in the upcoming slides. So with this example, there are two periods which is available in the ESI Act. One is my contribution period, which is actually the period in which I am contributing to ESI through my salary, and the benefit for that contribution will be available in the subsequent 6 months with a gap of 3 months. That is the contribution period and the benefit period. So as an employer, so it is very important that we have to be a successful HR person. You have to be the first face of remembrance for any employee. All that is fine, but we always have a boss. Whenever we go back to him, he will tell, okay, what is the ROI? What is the return of investment? Okay, boss, all that is fine. What is there for an employer? Of course, there is lot for an employer. One simple thing is, if an employee is covered under ESI Act, you don't have to worry about anything. Let any liability come, any risk come, this ESI Act is enough to take care of all the liabilities that will come to a employer. So again, going back to my own example, when I was in a manufacturing sector, one employee, not to the extent of that big accident which I faced, that guy was a real poor fellow. But there was another guy who had a very small injury. It is not even a full total disablement. It was just a temporary disablement. I don't remember. It is hardly a fracture. So there was a local team which was affiliated to a political party. So they came with alone 20, 30 people. They just entered the factory premises and they were making a big noise. So we were very, very clear. We said the employee is covered under, they were actually demanding money. They said, no, no, this has happened to this employee. You have to pay us so much money and all that. We said, whatever you want to do, you do. We are willing to face legally. Employee is covered under ESI Act, so we are not willing to pay any money to you. So that is the stand we took. That confidence, from where did we get? It came from the act, which is covering almost all the requirement, be it a medical benefit, be it a sickness benefit, be it a partial disablement benefit, or whatever it is. The ESI Act gives the overall benefit that is available and secured, and nobody can question you, I want something more. This act alone is enough to take care of all the liability. So that is something very, very wonderful about this act. And the next important thing is, it's simple, it's lighter part of it. The contributions that are made by the employer are would get tax exemption to the employer. So that is something which is an advantage to the employer. So this is the advantage of ESI. So getting back to the benefits of the act, Professor, am I taking too much of time? How much time do I have?
Half an hour is there, I think.
Okay, fine. So getting into the benefits of the act, what are the benefits that are available? So the first benefit which is available to an employee covered under ESI Act is medical benefit. So as I was telling you, there are dispensaries, there are hospitals, there are tie-up hospitals where these employees can go get the medical benefits. He can get admitted, he can just consult a doctor and come back, or if it is a critical illness, ESI will organize for specialized treatments for him. It is not only for the employee, the benefit is also available to the family members of the employees. So all these benefits are available through the medical benefit scheme. It could be a full medical care, including the drugs and the medicines which are to be consumed by the employees. Say if an employee is diabetic, the employee or anyone in the employee's family is diabetic, employee can visit the local dispensary and take all the medicines which are related to diabetic from ESI hospital. And in case if there is an injury, not a industrial injury, it could be a personal injury, personal injury also. Those injuries can be treated in the hospitals. Maternity, it is it can be managed, or it can be the treatment could be given from the ESI hospitals. So it covers almost every single medical requirement of an employee, right from a drug or a supplement to be managed to the critical illness. Everything is being managed by the ESI corporation. It is by the way of both outpatient treatment and also the inpatient treatment. It also include many facilities like lab test and x-rays, scan. All these services are available through ESI corporation. So this is the medical benefit which is available to an employee. As I told you, there is no qualifying condition for to avail this medical benefit. It is not mandatory that I should have worked 6 months in my contribution period to enjoy the benefit. Right from day one, anyone from the family or for the employee himself can enjoy the benefit. All that this dispensary will ask is, ask him to show the insurance card, and that is why it is very important for a HR person to register himself on the first day and then give that insurance card to the employee. And one more important point is the ESI portal will not allow an employer to register the employee after the 10 days of joining. Otherwise, HR professionals used to be little lethargic. Not lethargic, they are tied up with so many other things, and sometimes we will think, okay, insuring a person in ESI is the last thing which I have to do. But ESI Act, ESI Corporation has put a showstopper for it by putting a restriction that an employee cannot enroll an employee after 10 days of his joining. So if I enter a date, today is 27th, if I try entering somebody who has joined on 16th, the system will not allow me to enter 16th at all. Only from 17th I will be able to enter. So that was something which was available as a lock. He will not be able to enroll an employee. But under this COVID situation, the ESI has relaxed that restriction. I would be able to enroll my employee even after 10 days. So that is something which is available now to manage the current COVID situation. So there is no restriction on the minimum number of days which an employee should serve to avail this benefit. This medical benefit is available to anyone right from day one. And next important benefit is sickness benefit. Sickness benefit is nothing but a compensation for loss of pay. To make it very simple and make it very understandable for you, it is nothing but a compensation for loss of pay. If an employee is not able to come to work and there is no leave for him, or there is no wages for him for the days in which he has absented himself, that loss of pay is compensated by the ESI corporation. It is not to the extent of full salary. It is on an average somewhere around 60% of the salary would be given to the employee as a sickness benefit. Here, the first 2 days of the ailment is called as waiting period. If somebody is absent for 7 days, first 2 days are called as waiting days, and for those 2 days, employee will not get benefit. Right from the third day to the end of his last day of the treatment, employee will get this loss of pay benefit from the employer. So this is a benefit which is available to an employee, and uh, it is, the sickness benefit is extendable to a maximum of 2 years. In case of, if it is a life threatening disease, you can understand somebody going through a dialysis, or if somebody is going through a chemotherapy, you can understand that it is not something short term like a fever where an employee can come back to work. And even such critical illnesses, employee is eligible to get the compensation up to a maximum of 2 years from ESI corporation. That is again something very, very wonderful about this act. And there is a precondition to avail this benefit. As I was telling you, the employee should have worked at least 78 days in the previous period, that is the contribution period, to get the sickness benefit in the next contribution period. If somebody has not worked for even 78 days in the contribution period, and that employee will not be eligible for this benefit. And what is very, very interesting is, to avail the sickness benefit and to avail this maternity benefit, it is not just the person has to be on employment. If somebody has retired, what will happen? All the way he has contributed to ESI throughout his employment, and retirement is the age when he actually would need the benefit. ESI has a wonderful option. Even if somebody has retired or yearly retired or decided to quit the job, employee on his own can volunteer to pay just 120 rupees per year, continue to contribute to ESI corporation, and he can avail the benefits. That is, the medical benefits can be availed by the employee who has retired or taken a option to exit the organization. So that benefit is available to the employee. And as I was telling you, the next important benefit that is available to an employee is disablement benefit. So the disablement benefit can be categorized into temporary disablement benefit or a permanent disablement benefit. To give you an example, what is a temporary disablement benefit? Imagine a situation where employee has just slipped on a floor and his hand is fractured. So if the hand is fractured, the employee is not able to work. So he is disabled, but this disablement is temporary. As long as I continue to have pain, or the doctor is suggesting me not to work, I will continue to have this disablement. But after some 10 days or 1 month, if my hands are functionable, then I will go back to my work and start earning. So such an injury is called a temporary disablement. But there could be permanent disablement, where I was mentioning the case of a contract employee who has lost his a hand up to his wrist. So that is a permanent disablement, where employee will never get back to work and do the same job. He may do some other job, but he will not be able to do the same job what he was doing earlier. So this is treated as permanent disablement, and the benefit is paid at the rate of 90 percentage of the wage in the form of a monthly payment up, when somebody is experiencing this loss in earning capacity. Again, what is very, very important is, to get this benefit, to avail this benefit, no qualifying condition is required. Right from day one, employee is insured under this act and he will get this benefit. So that is why, friends, I'm insisting, the most important role of a HR person is, don't be a reason for somebody to suffer. Enroll them in all the insurance programs during the onboarding on the first day of his employment, so that he will not miss any benefit. Not that if you have not done, the poor employee will lose anything. Even then we will have to justify that it is our mistake and we can get the benefit. But don't even attempt it. Right from the day one, that insurance coverage should be available to an employee. That is uh, uh, the least thing which we can do to an employee after studying a subject like labor legislation in our career, so in our course curriculum. That is more important. So this particular benefit does not call for any qualifying condition. Employee is covered under this benefit right from day one. And there is also something called as dependent benefits. As I was mentioning, a list of dependents who are eligible to get dependents. If something happens to the life of the employee, or the life of the employee is at risk, it could be industrial injury, or it could be an occupational disease, or whatever it is, the dependents of the family are eligible to get some pension. And this is where the 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 employment injury, the definition of an employment injury what we saw earlier, comes into play. Employer cannot raise his hands and tell, no, he didn't reach my premises. As we saw, it is in and out of the course of employment. The employer is liable to pay the compensation to the employee. I mean, ESI corporation is liable to pay the compensation to the employee or the dependents, and thereby dependent benefit is also a very, very important benefit that is available in ESI corporation. And again, for this particular benefit, there is no any qualifying condition. Right from day one, the employee becomes a member of ESI, he is covered under this benefit, and his family members are eligible for the dependent benefit. And apart from the benefits, the other benefits available are funeral benefit. It is not a benefit, it is a funeral expense in case of any mishap. I mean, something which is unfortunate happens to an employee. The family members will immediately get 15,000 rupees to take care of the funeral expenses or last rites of an employee. So that will be paid to the spouse or the legal heir of the family. And similarly, women, the confinement expenses are also borne by the employee. And apart from these all benefits, ESI has a lot of other support services like vocational rehabilitation centers and then physical rehabilitation centers, where if somebody is disabled, they go through a lot of training. Basically, if in simple words, if we have to tell, it's a kind of physiotherapy which is being administered to regain his previous condition. So such special features are also available in the through the ESI corporation. Old age medical care is what we spoke about. An employee can continue to contribute to ESI and get the benefits of ESI corporation even after his retirement. That is a benefit which is available under the Act. And another important benefit under the Act is which has been recently launched. Recently, in the sense, ESI Act was enacted in 1948, but this benefit was launched or introduced in the year 2005. But I would still call this as a landmark introduction in ESI. Today, I'm sure you would have studied a lot of other acts in your as a part of your curriculum. We have a lot of acts for medical insurance, life insurance, social security, PF, ESI, POSH, and so many things. But even today, India doesn't have an act for an employee who is losing job. What will happen to an employee if he has lost job? There are options like you can withdraw your provident fund contribution if you are unemployed for 2 years. All that is finally end of the day our own money. What is the benefit available to a person who worked for an organization and that organization is shut down and the employee is retrenched, and it is very difficult for the employee to get the next job? What will happen to the family till such time the employee gets himself a new job? For this question, actually, we don't have an answer. But in European countries, we have a plant in Europe. We have in Sweden, Finland, all these European countries. Because of COVID, in India, all the plants, in at least in Chennai now, we still continue to have lockdowns, and then the factories are shut. There is no proper. Only during the first lockdown, there was the government was insisting that the salary should not be cut. The subsequent lockdowns, there were no specific instructions to any of the employer that the employee should get his salary. And there are organizations which are still not paying the salaries to the employees. Only very genuine, moral, ethical organizations are paying. We are not seeing that happening in many small scale industries. But in Europe, the employees union came forward to us and they said, okay, we are offering you 20% salary cut. Don't pay 20% salary to us, just you can pay 80% salary. You know what? There is an unemployment insurance. The government will compensate the loss. And that is why employees are coming forward and telling us, okay, we are giving you 20% salary cut, pay us 80% salary, that is enough. That is the confidence what unemployment insurances can offer to the employee. And in India, as on date, such an act is not available for others. But I would tell ESI is a pioneer in bringing that into its purview. There is something called as Rajiv Gandhi Sharmik Kalyan Yojana, where unemployment is being covered through ESI. That is a benefit. In case of an unemployment, ESI would offer benefit to the employee. And there are also vocational training centers which can upgrade the skills of the employees. And one more important benefit that is available under the act is this is again Atal Bimit Kalyan Yojana. This is something again which is related to the welfare of the employee, where cash compensations are paid for around 90 days, and the employee can actually get some kind of training, and then he can get some kind of training, and then get engaged, employed in other organizations in case of if he needs any upgrading of his skills. So there is a scheme where an employee will get this benefit. So that is something very, very interesting, other than the benefits which are available regularly to the employees. So with this, I have covered all the benefits that are available in the ESI corporation, and through the ESI corporation and the general administration of the act. And I'm open to take questions from you. Professor?
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, yeah, some of the questions participants have put it in the chat box. Okay, ma'am. The first question is: can any employee avail with ESI benefit once he or she leaves the organization?
If she is in an active employment, she can contribute that 120 rupees and then continue with the same insured number. She can continue, he or she can continue to be a member, but paying that contribution 120. But there should be a valid reason. It should be an early retirement, or it should be because of disability, or because of retirement. If that is the case, then they can continue. Otherwise, if it is a regular exit because of retirement, it is not. Regular exit because of resignation, it is not possible.
Okay, next question from YouTube. As per eligibility, it was stated that salary up to 21,000 are eligible. Whether the contract labor employed in skilled category whose minimum wage is more than 700 rupees are eligible for the ESI benefit.
700 per day. If they are on an average, if it is for 30 days, not 30 days, 26 days, and if it is crossing 21,000 rupees, obviously they will come out of the ESI limit. But what is interesting is, see, 21,000 rupees is the fixed wages, gross wages. Tomorrow, over and above the 21,000 rupees, if I am performing overtime and I am earning some 3,000 rupees because of my overtime, the act will not exempt me. I will continue to be an employee, contributor to ESI in spite of my salary going up because of my overtime wages. But the base wages, no, if it is crossing 21,000 rupees, then the employee will not be eligible. Uh, so obviously, when the employees, for a skilled employee for whom the gross salary is more than 21,000 rupees, obviously he will become exempted from ESI.
Okay, next question from Manigandan.
Okay.
Hi, ma'am. At present situation, if an employee who is covered under the ESI is affected by COVID-19 positive, what are the benefits will be given to employees from ESI?
Okay. One is the medical benefit which is available to the employee. He can get admitted in the ESI hospital, and there are specific beds reserved for ESI insured employees. At a situation where actually people are finding it very difficult to get admitted, all the hospitals are full, there is a specific reservation for the insured employees in the ESI corporation, which is reserved for them in the ESI hospitals. So it is definitely the insured people can avail that quota. Apart from that, those days is where an employee is losing the loss of pay. There is a sickness benefit, as I was briefing. In the sickness benefit, the loss of pay will be compensated to the employee. So these two are the major benefits which are available. And post that also, he can continue to have supplements from the hospital, not only for him, for his other family members who has taken care of the family, they can also be covered under. And as I was telling, there were many special centers, like yoga centers are there in the ESI hospitals, where an employee can go participate in those yoga programs, because nowadays it is said the lung management, the exercise, the breathing exercise can actually control COVID. So such special features are also available, where an employee post his treatment to COVID, he can avail those benefits also. So all these benefits are available through ESI medical schemes.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from Srinivas Tankila. A and B are husband and wife are working drawing less than 21,000 per month. Both are covered under ESI guidelines. Can they take the advantage of dependency on each other for the purpose of ESI benefits?
Both of them are covered and both of them will have the benefit, but I don't think they can get one of them get exempted. Both of them will have to contribute and both of them can avail the benefits.
Okay. But the dependency, can they take the advantage of the dependency on each other for the purpose of ESI benefits?
I don't understand what he is exactly trying to understand.
Ma'am, actually, when there's dependent benefits,
Uh-huh.
so in that case, can both of them have that?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. In spite of one person continuing to be in employment, definitely the dependent benefits can be availed by that person. Definitely, yes, it is possible.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from Jagan Babu. What if an employee was under ESI but he has got appraisal and is earning 25,000 per month? Can he or she continues under ESI Act?
See, this is the contribution period what I was mentioning, no, April to September. So when I got into the contribution period, my salary was 21,000 rupees. In the month of May, I got an increment and my salary has become 30,000 rupees. In spite of that, once I start contributing or during the starting of the contribution period, no, till the end of the contribution period, I will be covered under ESI irrespective of my gross salary going up. And having said that, when I have contributed during that contribution period, I can avail benefits in the next benefit period. So I will continue to contribute to ESI in spite of my salary going up within that contribution period.
Okay. Okay. Next question from here in Zoom. If question from Akshay Kumar. If an employee is being initially employed with a salary of 35,000 per month, can he still register under the ESI Act?
Now, once he crosses his salary limit, he cannot continue to be a insured person.
Okay. Question from Arun Moli, NG. Is there any special amendments in this act in the event of COVID-19?
Yeah, it is not an amendment. There are certain exemptions which the ESI corporation has given. One is, as I was telling, that enrollment period was limited to 10 days earlier, but they have made it open. Anybody can do it. Irrespective of the number of days, anyone can enroll it. That is one. And the medicines, the supplements, they used to go to the dispensaries and then they used to get the medicines from the ESI dispensaries, but now they have made it open that it could be claimed by any other medicines they can buy, and then that could be reimbursed from the ESI corporation. So these are the benefits which ESI has announced to manage COVID. Other than that, there are no specific things, and apart from that, there are beds reserved for insured employees in the ESI hospitals.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from Dr. John. For how many years an employee or employer should contribute? What if he is promoted and moves beyond monetary limit?
That's what once the employee crosses this 21,000 rupees, obviously he will come outside the purview of the ESI Act. So it is only the earning of the employee, the gross salary what an employee is earning will decide his continuity in or coverage under ESI Act. That's all. It is not any specific years.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from David Tarokia Selvi. If a person is get accident during contribution period, is ESI helps? If it is, how?
See, that's what for accident benefit there is no qualifying condition. Right from day one, it is covered. The employee is covered. So the moment if somebody is experiencing an accident, yes, he will be given all the benefits which are related to the accident.
Okay. Question from Mr. Rajendran. If an employee works up to 5 years contract, then he or she sent out of the job, she is eligible for Rajiv Gandhi Shramik Kalyan Yojana scheme?
No, no. Actually, this unemployment is authorized unemployment. Like if a factory is running and the factory is shut down, in that case, all the 100 employees have lost job because the factory has been shut down. In that case, this unemployment insurance will be applicable. Or in case of a retrenchment where the employee is declared medically unfit and because of that he has been retrenched. In that case, for that unemployment, this unemployment insurance is applicable. It is not for dismissal because of a misbehavior or somebody has lost job or something like that, maybe the performance issue, somebody is losing job. Not this unemployment insurance does not cover those kind of unemployments, but it covers formal declared unemployment, as I told, in case of closure of a factory or a retrenchment due to medical, all these cases.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from Meenakshi Kumar. Uh, in case of occupational disease, should company or the organization bear any kind of amount to the employee apart from ESI benefits?
See, one is sky is the limit. If the organization decides he is my employee, I have to do, they can do whatever they want. But there is no liability for him to do it once the employee is covered under ESI Act. So nobody can demand, I have suffered this disease, give me this money. Nobody can demand it. Employer is not liable. But he can offer whatever he wants and the act will not stop him.
Okay, ma'am. Uh, Question from again Arun Molly. Regarding unemployment allowance, can employees who lost jobs due to COVID-19, whose salaries are under 21,000 and who contribute a necessary period, can they get some percentage of salary in the name of Rajiv Gandhi Kalyan Yojana?
Right now, there is no such announcement from ESI on that kind of unemployment. In case if I come across or if there are any announcement, we would definitely keep you updated through your professors. But right now, that is not announced by ESI also.
Okay. If yes, whom should the unemployed contact? Of course, obviously the ESI dispensary. Okay. Okay. Next is question from David Arageselvi. Why the government employee is not come under the ESI Act, who is getting below 21,000?
I don't think any government employee will get less than 21,000 rupees. That is the fact of the matter. But the additional thing is they have their own schemes. Government employees have their own medical benefits, which are actually superior to the ESI benefits. So anyone like a government employee or Navy or Air Force who has benefits, and even for that matter, who employees in any organization who is drawing more than 21,000 rupees, no, they would not have ESI benefit. Obviously, the employer would have given them some medical insurance, life insurance, and maternity benefit act. All that employer would have given. So when there is a supreme benefit which is available, this employee will obviously be covered under this benefit and not ESI. But irrespective of all those benefits given by the employer, if the employee is drawing less than 21,000 rupees, employee has to continue with ESI. I will give you one example. An employee is contributing to ESI. Okay, he has a loss of pay for 3 days. Now he has to claim three days loss of pay from ESI. ESI will send a note to the employer. The employer has to certify, I have not paid wages for this 3 days. Only when the employer certifies, the ESI corporation will pay the 3 days wages to them. So ESI will double check employee is not getting double benefit. But if nothing is available and the employee is covered under ESI, the benefit will be given by the ESI only. But there is no double benefit available.
Okay. Next question from uh, John Sham. Contract labor being injured and during his temporary disablement, should we pay the salary? He will be getting the benefits of ESI and also the salary to be paid.
Yeah, so the contractor will be responsible for it. That is why I was insisting. See, the organization is called as principal employer. It is the responsibility of the principal employer to make sure the contractor is having all the statutory compliances in place. So if the principal employer has made sure, then the affected contract labor will get all the benefits through the contractor and not through the principal employer. But in case if the principal employer has failed to ensure that the contractor has complied with the statutory provisions, then the principal employer would become liable to pay the benefit or get the benefit to the employee, the contract employee.
Okay, ma'am. Rajendran K. Sir, actually, employees' contribution and employees' contribution are given two times in slide 0.75 and 3.5. No, sir, actually, it is employer contribution 3.25, employee contribution 0.75, sir.
No, have I made a mistake?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, I think it's repeated in two times employees. Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Employees contribution is 0.75, employer is 3.25. I'm sorry, I didn't notice this.
Okay, ma'am. Uh, okay, ma'am. Question from Imran. Is overtime wages are also included in ESI Act as part of wages?
Yes. Employee will have to pay. Employer should also pay for the overtime wages also.
Okay, ma'am. Next question. You put an example. How the employer who assembled the product responsible to pay insurance?
That's what, no, like it is, he is called as principal employer. He is liable. Why am I subcontracting my parts to others? Because I am trying to be intelligent by keeping my liability less. I am doing only assembly inside my premises, and for that I am engaging only 5 people. So I am not paying ESI for others. So either I have to cover all those employees who are working related to my work. Also, I have to cover ESI, which is very tedious. Instead of that, I should make sure my subcontractor is covering them under ESI. What will the subcontractor do? If I allow him to work without ESI, he will do that part for me for 5 rupees. I tell him no, ESI is compulsory, pay ESI wages. Then he will come back to me and tell, okay, don't give it. If I have agreed for 10 rupees, if I ask him to comply with all statutory compliance, he will come back and ask 10 to 12 rupees from me for one cap. Obviously, I will have to pay the 12 rupees to him. Only then he can cover his own employees under ESI and all statutory provisions. So that is why it is important that Act is making the principal employer liable. I cannot wash my responsibilities away. I am responsible for someone who is working in connection with the job what I am doing. That is very important.
A question from Manoraj. Madam, how do we deal with the case where a bunch of employees work only on a day and we generate ESI code and they leave the organization? How to deal with this non-compliance?
This is okay. See, generally where you are having contract employees, no, this will happen actually. So that is why the employees will ask for the ESI card of that employer. It is transferable. Today, I with the same insured number, no, I can work in one organization, and next day, even when I go to the other organization, no, if I give that existing insurance number, instead of creating a new number, the new employer will use that insurance number, and they will make sure that the benefit continues. So it is okay. Even if it is one day, the insurance number generated once, it is like an Aadhaar card. It is once it is done, it is created, it is available for you. You can use that same insurance number irrespective of number of job changes somebody is doing.
Okay, ma'am. Next question from Justice Emmanuel. For fatal case, that is death, what benefit is available for nominees? For fatal case, that is death.
Okay, see, this is a very broad question. It depends on a few calculations, which I will not be able to brief it. So there are certain computations which are used to make this arrive at the death benefit of the employee. So that is one separate clause. But all that matters is there is a percentage on which the which decides the final payout which will go to the employee. So that based on that percentage and the salary what the employee is earning, based on that the pension amount will be decided by the corporation. and it is not just to one person. I'm just giving you an example. If the pension amount using this formula, the percentage and the applied on the last drawn salary of the employee is applied, and if the pension is arrived at some 5,000 rupees, I'm just giving you an example. Of this 5,000, all the dependents will have a share. If suppose the spouse, the children, and the parent are applying as dependents, this 5,000 rupees pension will be split among the wife, the child, and the mother. So the wife will continue to get if she is not married, and if it is a child, till the child becomes till the time the child is employed or married, the child will continue to get the benefit. And till the time the parents are alive, the parents will continue to get the benefit. If the child gets married, that pension will stop. That pension will not be transferred to the spouse. That part of the pension will be stopped. And something happens to the parents over a period of time, so that part of the pension will be stopped. It will not be transferred to the spouse. So the spouse will continue to get the pension what she was getting throughout her life. So this is how the pension generally works. That itself is a broad concept to understand.
Okay, ma'am. Can we take a couple of questions? Then
Yeah.
we'll ask some participants to send their questions and answers to their respective mail ID, ma'am. Later, post. Hello.
Yeah, sure, we can do it.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
how,
Closer here.
sir?
So, sir, there's one question from Mr. Deepak. So he has asked, uh, can employee claim both funeral expenses from ESI and Tamil Nadu Labour Welfare Scheme?
He can claim, that is not a issue. He can claim actually. He cannot get funeral benefit if there is some other scheme from his employer, then he can't do it. Otherwise, through ESI, he can claim. That is not a stopper.
Okay. And in addition to that, he has asked to avail maternity benefit, how many days has the employee has to contributed?
90 days.
90
90
days.
days in the previous contribution period.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, one more question from Mr. Satish. He's asking when Employee Compensation Act is applicable, whether ESI also applicable.
The moment employee crosses 21,000 rupees, he gets out of ESI Act, and then that particular moment he gets covered under Employees Compensation Act.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, can we close it up?
Yes, I request Professor Dunstan, you can take over.
Yes. So thank you, participants, and we really thank Ma'am Rani. She has been comprehensively covered all the aspects of what an ESI Act is. Okay, and she has been giving a lot of live examples out of her experience and out of her knowledge. So we really thank you, ma'am, for your sharing of knowledge with us, with the participant, and with us also. And it gave a lot of clarification on certain minute information that we have missed out in our practicality. So thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us and then giving us a lot of information about ESI Act. I also thank you, our principal who came here for felicitation, and then our mentor, Mr. Professor Anthony Stephen is there. And I also thank Professor Union, who is convening the whole process. And I also thank Professor Hemakumar, who's been the admin of administrative support for all these particular platform. And I also thank all the participants who have been uh, you have been there till the end. So I have seen the participant list is still in the 90 85. So which means you are engaged completely with the session. So that's very interesting to note. I also thank all the participants for being in the session with us. Thank you so much. And we have also some information. We have also posted feedback plus post questionnaire in the chat box, and it will be also posted in the WhatsApp group. Please fill it up so that we can keep track of the how much knowledge that you are getting out of session and how much we have to improve on day-to-day basis. So please do fill it up, And thank you so much. Any answer?
Thank you, Dunson. That's the end of the session for today. We'll be joining tomorrow. Thank you all.
Hello, madam. No problem. I have to thank you. Super opportunity, நல்லா போச்சு ma'am. ஓகே மேம். ஆக்சுவலாக இப்போ அந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸ் அமைச்சிருக்காங்க மேம். அதை உங்களுக்கு அனுப்பிச்சுட்டு அவங்களுக்கு வந்து நீங்க ஆன்சர் பண்ணி அதை அனுப்பிச்சிடலாமா மேம் உங்களுக்கு? ஓகே. ம். மேம் ஓகே மேம். மேம் உங்களுடைய பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட் டீடைல்ஸ் கூட அனுப்பிச்சு வச்சிருக்கேன் மேம் கொஞ்சம் எங்களுக்கு. ஆக்சுவலாக வந்து எங்கள் காலேஜ் கைட்லைன்ஸ் பிரகாரம் வந்து கோர்ஸ் வர அமௌண்ட்டை வந்து
Hemakumar sir. Hemakumar sir.
Nancy sir, can we end the session, sir?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Why not?
But I think participants, even if you don't get time, if you don't have time to fill the link, we'll also share it in your WhatsApp group. Thank you. I'll end the